From Miami's first light to its night glow, we craft stories that move. You're watching Terrell Clayton Media.
All right, y'all. Today we got to talk about something that hits home for a lot of us. Black folks are losing property, losing land, losing assets. Stuff that our grandparents, great-grandparents, and great-great-grandparents bought with sweat, labor, and sacrifice. It's being sold off, taken, or lost over something as small as unpaid taxes. This isn't about money or just about money. This is about history. This is about legacy. This is about us holding on to the one thing that they couldn't take away once we finally got it, right? Land. So let's break down why this keep happening and how we stop it today, right? And I know y'all like, man, this is something that hits home, right? I know it has for me. I've seen it in my family. I've seen it in friends' families. So let's talk about it. So let's go back for a second, right? After slavery, black families started buying land anywhere we could, right? Mostly in the South. And even though we owned it legally, the system always had loopholes built in to take it back, right? Tax auctions, heir property laws, developers buying one cousin's share to force everyone else out, no access to lawyers, no ability to create trust, no wills, no estate planning. So even when we won, we still lost, right? Look at somebody like Madam C.J. Walker and what happened to her family. That was tragic. One of the first millionaires ever, and really nothing to show for it because of things that happen like that. And guess what? That same system that is happened or that was affecting people like Madam C.J. Walker back in the early 1900s, that system is still affecting families today, right? So one of the biggest killers of black generational wealth is something called heirs property, right? And here's what that means. All right, so let's take a quick break so I can be able to talk about something because we're talking about this topic here. And this hit me really strong, right? So every time y'all see me having this discussion, I'm always drinking on my tea because why, it's herbal. It come from the earth, right? And so this is a brand that I've always been drinking on. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the Amazon link so y'all can be able to follow. This is one of our sponsors, Set Tone Tea. You can be able to check them out on Amazon. Click. Put in BRICK as the promo code, and we're going to go ahead and make things happen. I appreciate y'all. Let's stay healthy together, fam. Grandma owns a house. She passes away with no will. Her 4 kids automatically inherit equal shares. Then their kids inherit equal shares. Then their kids inherit equal shares. Now you got 20, 30, sometimes 50 people owning the same property. Nobody knows who's supposed to pay the taxes. Nobody knows who's responsible for repairs. Nobody can agree on a plan. And then here comes a developer, buys one cousin, tiny little share, and uses the law to enforce the entire family to sell. It's completely legal. It happens every day. And it truly has destroyed millions upon millions of acres of black-owned land. Let y'all sit on that one for a minute. Think about grandma house. Think about granddaddy house. Think about the old mechanic shop. Think about the old salon. Think about all of these things that was in our family that just not in there anymore. So let's be honest with ourselves because we all seen this before, right? And a lot of families end up selling their land because of what? Money pressure. If the family broke, land doesn't feel like an asset. It feels more like a burden. They hit home to y'all? Secondly, there's no education around equity, right? Nobody taught us that land appreciates. Nobody taught us how to do a cash out refinance and maybe build something on top of that land. Right? Nobody taught us how to use equity as leverage, right? Nobody really taught us. Does it make an excuse? No, but it wasn't taught, right? let's talk about something else that has been affecting us for a while, right? One missed tax bill, and the county will take their home and auction off for pennies. Now, let's talk about the real elephant in the room. Family arguments. What happens when 10 people own one house? The house become a war zone. How many families have been broken apart because of money, property, land, all of those things? So a lot of people don't want to maintain the old family home because of pain, memories, or complicated family history, you know? None of this means that we don't care. It just means the system wasn't built for us, or we don't understand how to be able to handle the system, right? And so when we talk about this, it's really not about a trauma, but it's really about why something has happened or why something is happening. And maybe we can be able to do something about it, right? So let's talk about something really quick, right? We are in the middle of what we call the Great New Land Transfer, right? Over the next 20 to 25 years, as America is going through the biggest generational wealth transfer in history, $68 trillion. Let's say that again. $68 trillion. Most of America, all right, fine, let me just say it. White America has systems that keep land in their family, right? They know how to do it. They got trust, wills, family LLCs. They do tax planning. They got attorneys. They have a succession plans. They know what they're doing, right? And meanwhile, on our side, we still having a verbal disagreements. You know, it's not there. You know, or we just say, hey, when this person dies, then that's what's going to happen, right? We're going to pass this on, or that we had a presumption, or that's your daddy house conversations. You know, or we just have a manila folder in the drawer, right? You can't preserve wealth with a folder in the drawer. You need structure. And if we'll start building that structure now, we're going to lose most of the land our ancestors left behind. That's just the simple fact of the matter, right? So how do we end this? You know, we don't end this by being emotional, we don't just end this. We end this by creating a blueprint. All right. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but today. We create that, right? So how do we do this? So if you got a pen and paper, let's go ahead and start writing this stuff down. Put all the family property in a living trust. You hear me? Put all family property in a living trust. We're on YouTube, so if you need to rewind this, go ahead and rewind it. A trust prevents forced sales, simplify ownership, it reduces taxes, and it creates a single decision maker, right? Make one person the property manager, not the person that everybody liked the most or somebody might like the most, but the person who's the most responsible, right? Somebody reliable handles the taxes, the repairs, the rent, paperwork, tenant issues, communication, decision, right? And yeah, you heard the tenants, right? Because a lot of times, sometimes it's better to just rent it out, That needs to be done by one person, not 12 cousins on Facebook, right? That's not what we're doing here. Those days are over with. What else can we do? Pay property taxes 3 to 5 years ahead of time, right? Property taxes, a lot of times our house is already paid off. We complain and say that grandma and granddaddy bought the house for $20,000, $30,000 back in the days. It's not that much. They don't owe money on the house. So this right here is a secret, right? You can prepay taxes. It takes the county's leverage away completely. Another thing, clean up the titles right now. Don't wait until somebody dies. Clean up the titles now, not later. If the title has 8 people in it, fix it today, because tomorrow it becomes 30 people, and that's not what you want to do, right? And here's what I was going towards earlier today. Turn a property into an income producer. Land doesn't just have to sit. Lease it, rent it out, Airbnb it, put a billboard on it. Lease solar panels. Open a small business on the land. Let somebody else open a small business on the land. Use it as collateral for a family loan. A property that produces income doesn't get sold because people are happy when money keeps growing and it builds. All right? So at the end of the day, our grandparents and great-grandparents, they bought land because they knew something. Land is power. Land is stability. Land is survival. Land is legacy. We didn't get inheritance in cash. We got it in dirt, right? Land and property. They understood something that we didn't know. Pieces of land that our ancestors picked cotton on, then bought, then protected. Think about that. We owe it to them. We owe it to them to hold on what they fought hard for. That's straight up real. And if we fix this today with trust, with structure, and I ain't just talking about I trust you, I'm talking about actually revocable trust, irrevocable trust, family trust, land trust. Look into it. With structure, with communication, we can make sure our kids and their kids never had to start from zero again, because that's what keep happening. Not one more acre lost, y'all. Not one more. Not one more family home sold because cousins couldn't agree. Not one more property taken for $900 in taxes. We stopping now. Right now. Let's do this, y'all.